After the ceremony, President Emmanuel Macron will give a live broadcast interview with France's main broadcasters. And I'm joined by Douglas Herbert, our international affairs commentator. Doug, a lot of people will be looking for answers about COVID-19. What is the president's plan then for the last 2 years of his COVID plan for the last 2 years of his presidency?
Yeah, well, first of all, the fact he does have a plan, or at least he's going to give an indication of it. You know, if you're watching this story from outside France, you're probably thinking, oh, Emmanuel Macron, he's handled the coronavirus pandemic relatively well, certainly better, objectively better, numbers-wise than a lot of his neighbors, Italy, Spain, certainly the United Kingdom, perhaps not Germany. But you say, you know, pretty decent points for his handling of the crisis. Come into France and you flip the prism. It's a radically different perspective. And the Macron who's giving this interview today against this backdrop of COVID, a virus which is very much still out there, still circulating in France. Just in the past day, there were just under 300 new cases, albeit down from over the past 5 previous days, over 600 new cases a day. So numbers are still up there. There's still many clusters out there. But generally, the French are not cutting any slack for Emmanuel Macron. He is an embattled president who will be sitting down in about an hour's time with 2 French journalists to give what for him is a rare interview. He hasn't done this on a July 14th, given a TV interview. He broke with precedent in doing that. What do the French say? Well, the French say that if there are pillars of France's defense against this virus, the government led by Macron has failed on all of them. He didn't lock down early enough. Lockdown was March 17th. He should have done it earlier, could have saved more lives. He wasn't straightforward enough with the French people about mask wearing. Why was there a shortage of masks? Who was responsible? How many masks did they need? Should you even wear a mask? The guidance seemed to change and flip from day to day or week to week. And finally, that twin pillar of trying to tackle and rein in the virus, according to scientists and doctors, testing and tracing. France's testing capacity, time and again, the French see the government promising there will be tests. You will be able to get tested. Even today, surprisingly perhaps, given all those promises, there's still relatively low testing levels in France compared to a lot of other countries. So the French, you might want to say, are looking at the situation, seeing the glass half full, half empty, a sort of pessimistic view. They're not looking at the positives, and they're not giving Macron too much credit. He will be up against it. He'll be trying to talk about what he's been doing for the health sector, just announced a new package of 7.5 billion euros for healthcare workers, and he'll be looking at recovery plans, talking about how to help young people, older people, the economy, which is in double-digit contraction, predicted to bounce back. It is a tall order. It's not something he's going to be able to do in one interview.
Tell us a bit more then about the other points we should be getting information on.
Right, as if it wasn't difficult enough. Look, Macron has a lot of other issues he has to address, and he has his eyes riveted on the countdown clock. There's about 600 days left till the next presidential election. Presumably, he wants to run again. Right now, it's far from certain that if he were to run, he could win. He thinks, and his team thinks he could. He's going to have to talk about the ecological transition. He's going to talk about the role of women. These are all things that have nothing to do with COVID. He recently changed his government, out with a prime minister who actually dared to have higher popularity ratings than him, was seen by many French as doing a pretty competent job through this pandemic, perhaps in some cases even overshadowing Emmanuel Macron. Emmanuel Macron wants to take center stage again. This new government is supposed to bring in sort of a more technocratic-minded Prime Minister Jean Castex, who will not overshadow the president, who will just be out there on the terrain, meeting with workers, meeting with people, and not getting in Macron's way. But it's a government that's seen as shifting to the right. Perhaps Macron, sensing that he was losing ground politically, needs to get back some of the people on the right. His own party or movement, as you will, the République en Marche, as you call it, has been fracturing. He's been losing allies in many corners. So he's really an embattled president. All these issues might be brought up, not least of which there are some controversial ministers in his own new government, including the Interior Minister, a man who is still under scrutiny and has been accused of alleged sexual harassment, sexual abuse, even rape in the past. Obviously, he denies it. He says that these have all been resolved, that this shouldn't be an issue. It's not even clear whether the interviewers will bring it up today. But Macron is a man who potentially could face some very difficult, squirmy type questions, and the French are going to be sitting there wanting to hear answers. 66% of French, I'll leave you with this, disapprove of his performance, and some of them openly loathe the man.
Well, as a French woman myself, I hope they will bring up that particular issue of the Interior Minister. Thank you very much indeed, Douglas.